Hello, I'm Esther Gidu-Ewart. Welcome to Africa 54. Here's what's coming up. Lebanese Christians worry about the prospect of getting caught in the middle of a conflict as Hezbollah calls for revenge after Israel's killing of a senior Hamas commander in Lebanon. And the annual Consumer Electronics Show kicked off Tuesday in Las Vegas, Nevada, with a wide range of innovations being teased. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54. Hezbollah's call for revenge after Israel's killing of a senior Hamas commander in Lebanon is raising fears of an all-out war in the country. Lebanese Christians are especially alarmed at the prospect of getting caught in the middle of a conflict in which they otherwise would have no stake. Nicole D'Ilio reports from Beirut.
Clashes between Hezbollah and Israel have intensified since Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah said Israel's killing of Hamas senior leader Saleh al-Haruri won't go unpunished. Nasrallah's words have raised fears of a new all-out war, especially among Lebanon's Maronite Christians. Alice lives in Carmel Zaytoun, an eastern suburb of Beirut, in a basement with her husband Bashir and their 6 children, awaiting the arrival of their 7th. Already on the edge of misery, she is terrified that the conflict will destroy her life.
It scares me that the war could reach Beirut. I wouldn't know what to do with the children. Where could we hide? Now, at least, even if we are poor, I can still give them some bread. Then what? May God protect us.
In this time of uncertainty, people say they find strength and support only in their faith.
Now people are starting to think that Lebanese politicians and world leaders are no longer capable of providing solution to the crisis and are turning to God. He is the only one who can give us comfort and strength to move forward.
Kitchen Mariam, a Christian charity, opened 3 years ago in Karantina, one of the areas most affected by the deadly massive explosion at the port of Beirut in August 2020. Volunteers prepare around 1,500 hot meals each day for those most in need.
People come to us knowing they will find a place to eat where they can feed themselves without having to pay a single cent. God willing, we hope we can continue to help them.
For many people, the kitchen is the only thing preventing them from going hungry.
Every day, I manage to put 50,000 to 60,000 lira in my pocket, but it's not even enough to buy a sandwich. Here in Lebanon, there is hunger.
Lebanon, with 80% of the population living below the poverty line, has been suffering through one of the worst economic and financial crises in its recorded history.
The value of the currency deteriorated from pre-2009, it was in the tune of 1,500 lira to the dollar, to right now 89,000 lira to the dollar. The Lebanese lira is effectively worthless right now. If things escalate, the economy will shrink further and it will have devastating humanitarian consequences.
The cross-border clashes between Iran-backed Hezbollah, the dominant force in the south of Lebanon, and Israel, which began on October 8th, have become more intense. The Lebanese forces, the Maronite Christian Rights Opposition Party, is urging Hezbollah to avoid opening a new war front.
Well, the presence of Hezbollah is by itself a threat to the stability of the country. This is not just a Lebanese problem. It's a regional and global, international matter that needs to be looked into.
For the time being, most Lebanese are simply hoping their country will not be engulfed by the Hamas-Israeli war. Nicole D'Ilio, VOA News, Beirut.
Now for more on the Hezbollah's call for revenge after Israel's killing of a senior Hamas commander, I'm joined live via Skype from Beirut, Lebanon, by reporter Patricia Koda. Patricia, welcome back to Africa 54.
Thank you.
So why are Christians particularly worried?
it is not only the Christians who are worried, but it is the Christians who are mostly calling in order to distanciate Lebanon from the war, from a war with Israel. And this is what happened, for example, for the head of the Maronite Church, the Catholic Church in Lebanon, who is calling every Sunday during the Mass in order to distanciate Lebanon from the war. This is one. Two, there is something else that you should know as well. People usually don't know that on the border between Lebanon and Israel, there is not only a Shiite community. You have also a Christian community, Christian villages and Sunni villages. What has been done in the beginning of the war in Gaza, which means in the 7th of October, that Hezbollah used a lot the Christian villages, the forests and the Christian villages to bomb Israel from there and the Sunni villages. So Israel would retaliate on these villages. So Hezbollah would keep, it was in the beginning of the conflict, so Hezbollah would keep his villages safer. Now we have more than 600 families, Christian families who left southern Lebanon, who left and who are here in the Christian suburb. Your video is the video that you showed, the report, is one of the poorest area, Christian area in Ashrafiyeh, in Beirut, in the eastern part of Beirut, where you have Christian who live, and where it is hosting as well now refugees, Christian refugees from South Lebanon. So what I was saying, that it's not only the Christians who are afraid of a war. You have a lot of Sunnis as well. You have probably also a lot of Shiite Muslims because we already have lived a lot. So in 2006, we already saw we had a war with Israel and all the infrastructure in Lebanon collapsed. But we had countries that helped us, especially the Gulf countries that helped a lot Lebanon. Now we don't know if the Gulf countries, the Arab state, would help us, especially with the Hezbollah position against these Arab states, whether it is in Yemen, whether it is in Iraq, whether it is the Hezbollah is the ally of Iran. So this is one. Yeah. What else can we say about that? So we already have an economic crisis.
Right. Patricia, what other efforts are being made by the Lebanese government to ensure and prevent this conflict from getting worse?
The Lebanese government is not really capable of taking a decision because Hezbollah is a militia. And even 2 days ago, when they were negotiating, because now there is a lot of diplomats and a lot of people of the Western leaders who are trying to tell Lebanon to implement 1701. It's a resolution, it's the UN resolution that was adopted in 2006, and it calls for the end of a military, all people who carry weapons, demilitarization of South Lebanon and of the whole Lebanon, except if you are in the Lebanese army. So this 1701 would mean that southern Lebanon, during a first phase, Hezbollah would have to leave southern Lebanon until Litani, and Israel would have somehow a stability on its border. So the thing is, all the people who are visiting Lebanon, whether they are Europeans, whether they are Americans, Hodgkin, who is pushing for that, or the European Union and all this, they are pushing for the implementation of 1701. But until now, Hezbollah told, for example, doesn't want to implement it. He said that it's going to be when the war ends in Gaza, we will do it.
Right. Patricia, many thanks for your reporting. Patricia Koda, live for us from Beirut, Lebanon. As 2 more journalists are killed covering the war in Gaza, the United Nations says it is alarmed by the historically high death toll. Nearly 80 media workers have been killed since October. VOA Press Freedom editor Jessica Juret has the story.
A somber day as Al Jazeera Gaza bureau chief Wael al-Dodou says a final farewell to his son Hamza. A fellow reporter for Al Jazeera, Hamza al-Dodou, is one of 2 journalists killed Sunday near Rafah. For Wael al-Dodou, the loss adds to the family's grief. The bureau chief in October learned during a live broadcast that a strike had killed his wife, 15-year-old son, 7-year-old daughter and a grandson. His son Yair was seriously injured. And Dodou himself was injured while on assignment in December.
How can someone receive the death of their oldest son and everything in my life after I lost some of my family members, my wife, son Mahmoud, and Sham and Adam? How can I receive this?
Dadu's son Hamza and Agent France press freelancer Mustafa Tourer were returning from an assignment Sunday when an Israeli airstrike hit their vehicle. The Israeli military told Reuters that the IDF had identified and struck a terrorist, and it was aware of the reports that 2 other suspects in that vehicle were also hit. The 2 journalists killed Sunday are the latest to die in what watchdogs say is an unparalleled death toll for media in war. As of Monday, at least 79 journalists have been killed, nearly all Palestinian, says the Committee to Protect Journalists. The high rate over a short period alarmed the United Nations. A spokesperson Monday reiterated calls that journalists not be targeted.
Journalists, they risk their lives to bring the truth to everyone all over the world, and this is increasingly hard in the conditions that they are facing over there.
Israel's embassy in Washington did not respond to VOA's request for comment, but its spokesperson has said previously its forces never deliberately target journalists. Investigations by groups, including Reuters, dispute that claim. Analysis last month found Israeli tank fire in October had killed the news agency's journalist Issam Abdallah in what appears to be a deliberate attack. Investigations found that Israel knew the location of the news team. Lebanon Bureau Chief Maya Gabaili says that Reuters is pushing for accountability, and she highlighted the dangerous conditions under which her colleagues work.
It is a devastating pattern in which we're seeing journalists being unable to do their jobs and being prevented from doing their jobs by that kind of indiscriminate bombardment.
With intense fighting and access to Gaza restricted, accounts from local journalists are vital, she says.
When you have journalists who are there and who are providing these live feeds, it just makes accountability that much more possible.
As Dadu buries another of his children, the International Criminal Court confirms to Reporters Without Borders that crimes against journalists are included in its investigation into the war. Jessica Dreek, VOA News.
Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi's overwhelming but controversial re-election win with more than 70% of the vote came amid demands from the opposition and some civil society groups for the vote to be rerun due to massive logistical problems that they say had undermined the balloting. For more on the politics in Congo, I'm joined from New Jersey by Dennis Matanda, Adjunct Professor of American Politics and International Business at Washington, D.C.-based Catholic University. Professor Matanda, welcome again to Africa 54.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Right. Now, the recent presidential elections in DRC were marred by chaos, with the opposition crying foul about President Tshisekedi's win. Why does Congo continue to experience so much turmoil?
I think we underestimate the challenge of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Democratic Republic of Congo is much larger than Western Europe, and it's not necessarily connected by roads, by rail. It's mostly connected by air. Logistical problems were meant or were going to happen, not because there was no money appropriately sent to CENI, which is the Electoral Commission, or because there was no money associated with the governors. There was money appropriately signed. The big challenge you had is that on days like that, you probably had rain, you probably had delays in software working. And in my opinion, we need to almost respect the African countries that have logistical issues, because these things are wont to happen, especially because you have technology.
Now, Dennis, with some of the results yet to be announced, what can President Tshisekedi do in his second term to make his term memorable and productive for the Congolese people?
I think this is where the relationship between the United States, or a country like the United States, and an African country like the Democratic Republic of Congo, which now is Africa's second largest democracy and also largest by country size democracy. I think this is where an entity like the United States needs to infuse resources into infrastructure, into supporting and bringing the private sector. The Democratic Republic of Congo is one of less than 10 countries that have bilateral investment treaties. which means a person like Felix Tshisekedi, who has always wanted to work with the United States. President Tshisekedi needs to now actively engage with investment and investors. People need to pour resources. Unfortunately, and why I specifically talked about the United States, is that ever since 2014, the United States private sector has withdrawn its private resources. And so if you want to look at it from that perspective, U.S. direct investment abroad into the Democratic Republic of Congo is negative $1 million.
Right. Dennis, you know that Congo has really been under pressure with a lot of issues happening, rebels from the M23 group and also the Ugandan ADF meddling with the country as well. But also we've had regional peacekeepers in the country. What has the role of the regional peacekeepers been there, and why do these groups continue to cause so much mayhem in DRC?
Let me take this question first. In two sections. First, why do these regional groups continue to cause mayhem? It goes back to the very same first point that I made. The Democratic Republic of Congo is huge. And what that does is it gives people access to open areas to terrorize. And so it then comes to the second part. What do regional groups, or what role do they have to play at this level? I think that joining the East African community is of absolute importance to the Democratic Republic of Congo, because this means you have another sphere to have conversations with Presidents Museveni and Kagame at that level. And we need to remember that nothing generates success like commerce, like trade, like investment. If we can have more roads coming from Mombasa to Kinshasa, that will be the ultimate of peace and security ventures and things like that. Secondly, I think for me, what's most important when we talk about the regional, aspects, these countries almost have people that are of similar tribal instincts, right. And that is very important.
Professor Matanda, thank you for your insight. Dennis Matanda is Adjunct Professor of American Politics and International Business at Washington, D.C.-based Catholic University.
Thank you.
We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, the Computer Electronics Show opens Tuesday in Las Vegas. We'll have the details coming up. Stay with us.
This week on Straight Talk Africa. South Africa launches a case at the International Court of Justice in The Hague, alleging that Israel's military campaign in Gaza amounts to genocide. At the heart of the case is the 1948 Geneva Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Why is South Africa spearheading this effort? Join me, Heidi Adams, and my guests for an in-depth discussion on the case.
Hey folks, I'm Luckbill Yabaro, and I have some electrifying news for you. AFCON 2023 is here, and I'll be in Ivory Coast covering all things AFCON for VOA Africa. We'll have exciting coverage on radio, TV, and all of our digital platforms. Make sure you check out voaafrica.com for AFCON updates. Stay locked right here on VOA Africa.
In other news, Somaliland's Defense Minister Abdikan Mohamed Ateye has resigned to protest his government signing an agreement to allow landlocked Ethiopia access to Somaliland's coastline. Ateye, in an interview on local television, said, quote, "Ethiopia remains our #1 enemy." Meanwhile, Somalia has protested the deal as a threat to its sovereignty by Somaliland. The International Monetary Fund's Executive Board says it has approved an immediate $60 million loan to Mozambique. The IMF's 3-year loan program to Mozambique brings total disbursements under the $456 million extended credit facility approved in 2022 to about $273 million. And Salem Bazoum, the son of former Nigerian President Mohamed Bazoum, who was toppled in a coup last year, has been provisionally released from custody on bail. Salem Bazoum was released after having been held with his parents since the presidential guard seized power last July. Niger has been ruled by military leaders since Mohamed Bazoum's overthrow. Artificial intelligence is everywhere at high-tech computer electronics show opening Tuesday in Las Vegas. Africa 54 technology correspondent Paul Ndiho has the details.
From self-driving cars to baby carriages to ChatGPT in Volkswagen cars, artificial intelligence is expected to be center stage at the CES gadget extravaganza in Las Vegas this week. A US startup unveils WeHead, an AI companion robot showing a human face through a screen and capable of engaging in conversations. Accenture Global Innovation Lead and Tech Analyst Adam Baden says AI is now like human.
In the way that you interface with it. And it's actually doing much more than just democratizing access to the technology. It's allowing us to interface in ways that we've never been able to experience in the past.
LG Chief Executive William Chow says the world is at a historical turning point due to AI.
For us at LG, it's about going from simply offering tools to proactively working with you and working for you.
LG, Samsung, Sony, and other TV manufacturing titans also showcased AI enhancements that greatly improve images and help viewers find shows they will like. Volkswagen, meanwhile, presented what it describes as the first vehicle built with a chatbot powered by OpenAI's ChatGPT technology. NVIDIA, whose graphic chips are coveted for the ability to handle intense computing demands of AI, views CES as an opportunity to announce new graphic chips for gamers and creators. Analysts expect this year's Consumer Electronics Show to show strong themes of AI-infused health, cars, beauty, entertainment, and sustainability. Paul Ndiho, VOA News, Washington.
It's time for our health segment, and joining us now is Africa 54 health correspondent Lino Mudu with the latest on a cholera outbreak in Zambia. Hello, Lino.
Hello, Esther. Hello, everyone. Since October, Zambia's Ministry of Health has reported nearly 5,100 confirmed cases of cholera. 195 people in the country died of the virulent disease last weekend, according to government data. Various measures are being taken to curb the spread of the cholera epidemic in Zambia's capital, Lusaka. The latest outbreak is persisting despite various mitigation efforts by health authorities, including providing clean drinking water and chlorine to purify water sources in hard-hit areas, cleaning pit latrines, filling and disposing shallow wells, and strengthening waste disposal and garbage management.
We are trying to curtail the spread of cholera within the communities, providing the communities with chlorine, and also trying to prevent transmission of cholera in the health facilities. We are also working hand in hand with the local authorities in terms of waste disposal and also garbage management.
To encourage my fellow residents that let us try to observe the cholera rules. Let us use the toilets correctly. Let us wash our hands when coming from the toilets. Let us make sure that, I know maybe cholera might be chlorine might be expensive, but let us also use the cheapest method of making our drinking water safe. And let us keep the water not in the buckets, but in the containers, so that at least we can try to prevent the cholera right from our families and from our homes.
In Namibia, the marijuana trade is illegal and punishment can include a fine and imprisonment. But some who suffer from a medical condition want the government to decriminalize the use of cannabis, citing studies that have shown its possible benefits. Vitalio Angula reports from Swakopmund, Namibia.
Rainer Kring suffers from a debilitating motor neuron disease, a condition that damages parts of the nervous system, limiting his ability to move around and speak. Kring's condition is a result of a sports injury. Now in his 60s, Kring moves around with the use of a stroller and has speech impairment, making it hard to express himself. Cheryl Green is a Swakopmund-based herbalist who grows various plants in her backyard garden. 4 years ago, she was arrested for dealing in marijuana. She was found guilty of illegally possessing cannabis oil, which she says was used to treat her partner's condition. Green says although she had a very bad experience with her arrest and trial, she continues to advocate for the benefits of medicinal marijuana, calling on the government to change laws that prohibit its use.
Cannabis is phenomenal with all kinds of diseases. Like everything you can think of. I'm trying to think of something it doesn't heal. I don't think there is anything. It's a fantastic, fantastic herb. And yeah, I'm not happy that I can't grow it and use it. I could have helped thousands of people already.
On the possible decriminalization of medicinal marijuana, the government says it is considering the matter, but has cited the abuse of marijuana and other drugs in the country as a reason why the herb should remain illegal. Although there are people who use marijuana for recreational purposes, others like Kring say they use it to alleviate symptoms of ailments such as motor neuron disease.
I had to stop working a couple of days because of the disability. So, medical purposes, absolutely yes.
Richard Metcalfe, a human rights lawyer, represented Green during her trial. He says Namibia lags behind other progressive African countries such as South Africa that have decriminalized the use of cannabis.
No, I just think that it's time that we start needing to keep pace with developments in the rest of the world, and that we utilize products which we're able to grow and grow naturally, and they're not pharmaceutical products, that we utilize them and we utilize the knowledge that Africans specifically have.
Namibia's Prime Minister, Sarah Kogongerwa Amadila, who led the task force to investigate the medical benefits associated with marijuana, told VOA that the cabinet considered the request for decriminalizing marijuana on the basis of presumed benefits. However, the cabinet chose not to. Human rights lawyer Metcalfe says the law can only be changed by parliament. Vitalio Angula, VOA News, Swakopmund, Namibia.
That's our health report for today. To stay in touch, find me on X at Linahmudu. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Lino. Be sure to watch Lino Mdu's health report every Tuesday right here on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thanks for watching.